Rahubat Yasar. My name is Atum Rayay Hatap, and I am a student teacher of the Master Teacher who in the year 1970, at the age of 25, was given the golden pen by our overseers with the instructions, O my son, O son of man, write these unto the children so that they may know just how great they were and how great they can be. Write these words and put them on paper. Truth and guidance, truth, the guidance, the way, actual facts, that they may know we have guided your hands with the golden pen. Your voice is our voice, as have been instructed, has been writing day and shadow hour, letting nothing or no one stop him until they come back to take the pen. Today's lesson is coming from the Holy Tablets, chapter 1, the creation of this solar system and more. My beloved children, ones who are Nubians of wu-nuwaupu, remember this actual fact: 9.3 billion years ago, past the material was called, so space substance gathered together and became, by way of the word, a black dot at a time and point in space. At the beginning of the material word existed the black dot, became a line, and the line became a wall, and the wall became a cube. The line can also become a circle, and a circle can also become an orb by way of spinning every direction. Put the circle inside the square, and we have an atom, the birth of a sun. 1. Lahuj, Lo. 93 billion years ago, the world was given form, Orion by way of Asaru, Osiris, in agreement with Ashtet, Isis, from Cyrus. This solar system to be formed out of a gigantic whirling afar, substance, dust cloud, as gas as a result of the collapse of that great star, Sal, or Sal-Ur, consumer, shortened to Sal. 2. Asar, who dwells at the highest point, Orion, and Ashtat, who dwells at the chamber south of Orion, over Sirius, Job 9:9. 3. Allow the ruler of In-Ibru, Anu, also called Ilion El, Psalms 81, 1-8, Psalms 83, 18. The Most High El-Ali, Allah, Rad, and a Yahweh, or Hashem, and Roy. All of these attributes called by religious people. 4. However, he is one and the same Anu, the Most High Deity, over Anuna of Nibiru, who created this one universe and the planet now called Earth for his blueprint of physical creation, meaning two entities, the sky above the earth called atmosphere and the ground called planet. 5. A certain place on earth that became void and had no light, Jeremiah 4:23-28. By the wars between aliens, Revelations 12:7-12. Many of them unwelcome came down, Psalm 68:17. As a result, Anu sent his son Nud-Imud, Enki, son of Namad, down to earth, to that part of it which was void and darkness covered that part of the land. Genesis 1:1-4. And he was Rauh, a soul being. In his kabab, illuminated craft, hovered above the surface of the waters. And he took on a physical form and became a Yahweh, living being of Elohim, powerful beings. 6. This marked the beginning of a new cycle of everything that was to come, about from 42,000 years. 7. It was the Rauh, soul of the Most High, Anu, and his son Enki, that was to control everything, to quicken, to come into being, come to life. El of the Elohim, Yahweh, Rab, in. 8. So Nuwaupians of wu-nuwaupu, remember this. The most high deity of Nataru, Asar, Osiris, the most high deity of Anuna, Anu. So he, Nud Imud, Ia, Inki, is called the light of the galactical heavens and the planet Earth. It was he who requested from Nibiru, the mother planet craft, that they beam down a ray of Ur, luminary, to clear the dust cloud, a bright ray clear, when he said in Genesis 1:3, and Elohim, God said, let there be Ur, light. 11. And it was after this that the Shamash, sun, could shine forth, Genesis 1:13-19. This marks the time when the explosion came from combining two hydrogen atoms, long before the coming down to the planet of Enki, master of Earth. 13. The two hydrogen atoms make helium, and the combination of the two gases would lead to a chain reaction, which in turn makes more helium. 14. This is what makes this sun, which is 93 million miles from Earth, a ball, orb of gas, which is constantly burning. 15. Yet Nuwaupians of wu-nuwaupu, this sun has a death date set for it at an exact point in future time. It will burn out. 16. This burning of atom causes the explosion, also called electrical storms. These storms give off sparks of hydrogen and helium that fling out into this universe, outer space. 17. A series of chain reactions exploding, and this was the creation of Pa-Shamash, the sun. 18. That cloud of dust substance, Afar, and gas existed uninformed in the universe. Then it began to collapse. 19. This brought two hydrogen atoms together to form helium. 20. Hydrogen, the most abundant and simplest gas in the universe, is fuel of the stars, which there are many kinds. 21. There are binary stars, which are a pair of stars which revolved around each other, and eclipsing binary stars, which are stars that revolve in such a way that revolve in such a way that one star blocks the other's light. 22. Stars such as your sun, Shamush, stay hot because of your nucleus changes in their centers over a period of time. Increasing degrees of contractions and heat occur until reactions in their centers produce intense heat and brightness. 23. In their stellar cores, hydrogen is converted into helium and other heavier elements, as 554 million tons of hydrogen change into 550 million tons of helium each second of your Shamash, sun. The remaining 4 million explode from the center, giving birth to sunspots or electrical storms. Shamash, sun. 25. That was the birth of your sun, originally of 3. Apsu, Atu, Shamush. The one you live by today is the one known as Shamush or Shamsu. The luminous called this by the great ruler Anu, the most high deity of the Anunnaki. The Elohim, or the Ilion of the Ilion El of the Elohim, Aleya of the Alahat, the highest. 26. Between these two gases, Nawur, light, fire, came into being. The sun's energy comes from the changing of hydrogen into helium at the temperature of about 30 million and 175.262 degrees Fahrenheit. 27. Helium burning gives off hydrogen, which in turn makes more helium. 28. So Nuwaupians of wu-nuwaupu, that is exactly what makes this Shamash sun appear as an orb, Kharakun, a ball, of gas which is consequently burning and burning itself out. 29. So it is the burning, atoms, which cause the explosion, also stated electrical storms. 30. These electrical storms give off sparks of hydrogen and helium that fling into outer space. 31. Upon being flung into the universe, whirling at tremendous speeds, these sparks of burning gas begin to cool to a lesser degree of heat and settle in different places within the universe. 32. We Panataru call these planets, stars, and other galaxies. 33. From your Shamash, sun, electrical storms came, birth of your solar system, a large universe, a supernova, an explosion. 34. In ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs, the symbol of the word sun, the mouth of Asaru, Osiris, spoken word, the eye of Asaru, Osiris, Rayay, Ray, Ra, Roy. 35. Asaru, Osiris, used his eye to select the point in space. Asaru, Osiris, used his mouth to speak the sound, word. Asaru, Osiris, waved his mighty arm in approval, and it was so. The secret number 3, knowledge. 1, 2, wisdom. 3, understanding. 37. And in ancient Sumer, the approval was given to An or Anu, and his attribute was wedged into many clay tablets in bowls in cuneiform as Anu, the symbol of the maker of the sun, and over time it became, it's a diagram of the various different stars or symbols for the sun, which many numbered points for different meanings, yet all the Bible and Quran, religion for the Most High Deity, Father of angelic beings, who their Bible states is the sun. In Psalms 84:11, for the Yahweh Elohim, Lord God, is a Shamash. In Hebrew Strong's number 81:21, sun and shield, and the Yahweh, Lord, will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk upright. It's King James Version. 39. This is why they all pray to the light above, called the light good, when originally the light was the sun's rays, became the light of the heavens above, and then taught to mortals as fire, and become the light of the earth, comes down even as lightning. Luke 10:18, 2 Corinthians 11:14, they worship the light of fire. Quran 6:1, Quran 25:61, Quran 24:35. Allah is a lamp of fire, a light. Luke 10:18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as a lightning fall from heaven. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Quran 6:1, all praise is due to Allah, who created the heavens and the earth and made the darkness and the light. Then those who disbelieve equate others with their Lord. Quran 25:61, blessed is he who has placed in the sky great stars and placed therein a burning lamp and luminous moon. Quran 24:35, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The example of his light is like a niche within which a lamp, the lamp is within glass, the glass as if it were pearly white star, lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree, neither of east nor of the west, whose oil would almost glow, even if untouched by fire. Light upon light, Allah guides to his light whom he wills, and Allah presents examples for people, and Allah is knowing of all things. 40. In the religion of the Muslims, al-Islam, who are ordered to follow the religious rituals of Abraham, they call Ibrahim. Long before the Torah of Moses, they called Musa. So his religion was Zoroastrianism. The high God was Atar, God of light and fire. And down from Abraham to the Islamic prophet Muhammad, Ahmed, they had 99 attributes of the Arab God, Allah, who got his Quran from the illuminated, brightly shining beam while in a cave in Arabia in the year 610 AD, 42. As you know, the sun is 93 million miles from the planet Earth, and the 93rd attribute of Allah is An-Nur, the light. So the sun is 93 million miles from Earth, and Allah's 93rd attribute of his best names is An-Nur, the light. In Arabic, the word fire is Nar, and the fire is the same root letters, An-Nur and Anar. 43. The children of Adamite still to this day worship the sun, and the fire has the light of God, light of the heavens and earth. 44. And when you read of the Hebrews, now called Jews, and their prophet, Moshe, Moses, Musa, you see that the deity, an angelic being who spoke with him, spoke by way of a burning bush, a fire, like a bush of fire. Exodus 3, verse 2 to 6. Right down to the Christian of Jesus, to Jesus' time, Mark 12:26, and Acts 7:30 to 35. The Holy Spirits of the Christians of Paul also had inside of them fire in the form of cloven tongues, like in Acts 2, verse 1 to 3. And they say the devil is over the hell fire, and yet they worship that very same God, Lord of the Sun, the Son. The aliens who came down to earth 450,000 years ago, who afterwards warred and destroyed much of Mesopotamia, had burned Mesopotamia and burned the city beneath the sands, then later was given permission to return at the beginning of a new jubilee. 50,000 years, a new cycle. At the end of that double jubilee, 50,000 years, they had two 25,000-year cycles, down to 24,000 year cycle, or four 6,000-year cycles. The last was the making of the last humanoid species, or Adamites, 4000 BC, or 6,000 years back from 2000 AD. 46. Life existed on this planet millions of years before Adamites. They have a chart, 24,000 years, and it starts off with the black race, brown, 6,000 years, herbivores, 12,000 BC. The race Asian, yellow, omnivores, 6,000 years. And the race, Adamite race, white race, reds, 6,000 years, carnivores. 47. Time was set in place by these cycles. The seasons of records, 26,000 years, a precession, 24,000 years, an equinox, and 50,000 years, a jubilee. Just as the sun separated daylight hours from shadow hours, 24 in all, often changing as the effects of the sun on the planet. 48. As stated, by way of your sun's electrical storms came the birth of your solar system, and your planet has a shield protecting it from the mighty rays that come forth from the sun. 49. As a supernova, an explosion that could wipe out all life on this planet, 24,000 miles in circumference at its equator. 50. Life of the humanoid creatures with 24,000 genomes in their DNA, or chromosomes, is based on 3 cycles of 8 in one day cycle in relation to the humanoid's body. 8 morning, 8 evening, 8 night, times equal 24 hours. This 51. This relates to the 3rd degree of darkness, called night hours, the supernova birth by your own sunstorms and a large universe, a supernova, an explosion that is the 3rd degree of darkness. This explosion caused the reverse action from expansion to retraction that led to the collapse. 52. This supernova was 1 billion light years away at that time. 53. After becoming red giant supernovas from the word super, meaning above, over, upon, superimpose, superior in size from the Latin, from super, meaning above, over, and from the word nova, a star, that suddenly becomes much brighter and then gradually returns to its original brightness over a period of weeks to years, from the New Latin stella, nova, new star, nova, feminine of Latin novus, meaning new. 54. These supernovas collapse upon themselves, producing intense heat and causing their cores to explode. 55. Sometimes an explosion blows an entire star to bits, and other times a lump may still be left to become a neutron star, which is a smaller star made entirely up of neutrons and a collapsed star of tremendous density. 56. A neutron star is a celestial body hypothesized to occur in a terminal stage of the stellar evolution. 57. It essentially consists of super dense mass of neutrons that have a powerful gravitational attraction from which only neutrons and high energy photons can escape, thus rendering the body invisible except to X-rays, the X-ray detection. 58. Neutron stars have a mass of about 1 solar mass radii, about 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles. 59. Their densities are thought to be about 10 to the power of 14 times that of water. 60. Because of their identification with pulsars, rotating neutrons, stars are thought to have extremely strong magnetic fields, on the order of 10 to the power of 12. Gauss's compared to the field of 0.2 Gauss on the planet Earth and a few thousand Gauss in sunspots. 61. Every time they spin, they give out a flash of energy, like a lighthouse. The largest remaining bit of the star may also become so compressed and possess such an intense gravitational pull that it becomes a black hole. 63. At the center of the black hole, the star that died is crushed out of existence by force of gravity. 64. Black holes give off no light and act like stellar vacuum cleaners, sucking up matter and energy from space. 65. They can be compared to the effect that is produced when a cup of liquid is stirred at high speeds. 66. Once the spoon is removed, a hole is formed in the center, like a miniature whirlpool. 67. Floating objects are drawn and sucked into the center. Being this universe is an actual false etheric substance, like a liquid, it acts like a liquid. So black holes will absorb any stray material, matter, or energy that passes within a certain range of its horizon, including light. 69. Dwarf stars are also dark brown, made of protons. 70. Novas are stars that explode and become thousands of times brighter, and then becomes dim again. 71. The white dwarf is a small white star with a large amount of material packed in extremely small space. 72. A white dwarf is a star about the size of the planet Earth, yet weighs as much as the sun. 73. The weight of the sun's outer layers compresses the gas of the innermost region to the density of about 100 times that of water, and raises the central temperature to about 50 million Kelvin to 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. 74. There are supernovas and extremely bright stars exploding suddenly, appearing in the sky, generally decreasing rapidly in brightness. 75. Giants have a relatively large radius for its mass and temperature, and supergiants are relatively enormous stars with a greater magnitude than of a giant star. 76. Their lifetimes are short in comparison to other stars. 77. Some of the smaller stars are called neutrons, stars which are made up entirely of neutrons, a collapsed star of tremendous density. 78. A light year is a distance light can travel in 1 year, 79. And light travels at approximately 186,272 miles per second over a period of 365 days of the solar year, and then there are lunar years of 354 days of the lunar year. 81. This supernova was a part of a cluster. 82. All clusters move away from each other. 83. A cluster is one of many groups in which galaxies exist, 19 to be exact, on this side of the massive black hole, whose vortex opens up every 10 planet Earth years. 84. This vortex allows for traveling interdimensionally. 85. Through these portals in time and space, which open on planet Earth every 10 years, that end with the number 3. Because of this, because time is speeding up, you often get caught in time. 87. For instance, the last time was 1993 AD of the Gregorian calendar. 88. Let's go back to where it started. The years back: 1983 AD, 1973 AD, 1963 AD, 1953 AD, 1943 AD, and the opening of the vortex with the invention of the time machine and the Philadelphia experiment from Philadelphia to New York. 89, right up to 1993 AD, 2003, when the opening of the vortex blacked out New York State in 2003 AD, related to the past 1943, forcing the opening of the vortex by the Philadelphia experiment. 90. As predicted in the Holy Tablets, chapter 1, the creation tablet, tablet 7, verse 50. The next year of the opening of the vortex will be 2003 AD. 91. As you see that prophecy came to pass with the blackout in that year, 2003 AD, with the movement of Panabab Yanun from Oklahoma to the very city of New York, as I foretold you to expect, so it came to pass. The vortex did, in fact, reopen in 2003 AD. 92. Many aliens, extraterrestrials, did come across onto this dimension and realm of existence, and many alien species. 93. Your time warp started in the year 1940 AD with the Philadelphia incident. 94. This experiment, headed by paperclip German scientists with the help of aliens from the Aldebaran star system, northeast of Orion. 95. That experiment is what caused a vortex to open up, causing aliens, extraterrestrials, to come into this dimension because of the magnetic pull of the big generators that supplied the energy for the Invisibility Project in Philadelphia. 96. This vortex can be opened by alien extraterrestrials from the sixth identity, from their time reference. Mahoraju, the ones who are aliens, and Kharaju, those who exit or aliens. 97. And one such incident occurred June the 6th of the year 1966 AD, which was the return of the date of the 13 sons who were born to Nana, Kata, Sin, Zuin, Zion, the devil himself, son of Enlil and Linlil. 98. He is the son of Antu. This Enlil, who with Linlil birthed Nana, the adversary of Murdoch, the son of Inki and Damkina, or Ninki. 99. These are they who are in the Bible and the Quran. 100. All types of species that are malevolent beings came through this planet Earth during these times when the vortex was forced open. And that is the lesson for today. Any rereads or questions?
Yes, my first question is, how does the information about the sun being 93 million miles away and the opening of the vortex and neutron stars, and black holes, how does that affect us now in modern times and our, let's say, our revolutionary development and growth along with the planet moving into the fifth dimension, as it was related in dimensional shift and genetic shift? How does that affect us? How does all that information affect our revolutionary development and growth?
How it relates to us, or how it affects us at this day and time, is one, being aware of where we are within the boundless universe and understanding how these celestial bodies work, because energy, as we've been taught, is shot down or is emitted from these celestial bodies, and we as celestial beings are affected by them. It affects our moods, it affects the way we think, and the type of energies that are coming to the planet Earth also affect the transformation that's taking place within us. So it is extremely important to understand how all of these things work, because as we enter into this new cycle, as we enter into this new time, and the shift is taking place, without being aware of why the shift is taking place, we may react or act out unaccordingly. Does that make sense?
I'd also like to know, how are these energies affecting us directly? Can you give me a concrete example of this?
An example I can use, and this is just something that we can more easily relate to, is what happens during the summertime. Go ahead. More heat. What is known to happen with black people during the summertime? What immediately begins to happen in the hood? Everybody comes outside.
We get
exactly.
We get angry quicker.
So just the seasons alone, with the raising and the lowering of the temperatures, people coming out, being more outdoors, interacting with each other, a high activity level. These are things that you can see for yourself. And so I'm going to use an example that I know that you can see yourself, and you'll be able to relate it onto things that you may not have immediate knowledge of, but you can see how that will affect you, and understand that it may not have as an adverse effect, but even the most subtle effect in the grand scheme of things is very large. A subtle change, of course, can alter where you end up. Go ahead.
Okay, you said where you end up, meaning
we're taking a journey.
We're
taking a journey.
Okay.
And that journey starts within.
Okay.
And where the mind goes, the body follows. And if there's new energy coming to the planet Earth, as we've been taught, and it's affecting us on a cellular level, if you are not preparing your body to receive this new energy, if you're not correcting your mind with this right knowledge, where you end up would not be where you thought you were going to be. Then many people will find themselves destroyed. Many people will find themselves left behind. Many people will find themselves outside the gates when they're attempting to come in, based on decisions that they made, being unprepared by the energy that was coming down to the planet Earth and how it affected them.
Very interesting. That's the answer I was looking for. How does it directly affect us? Now, my next question is, I was told that the sun, you should sit in the sun for at least 30 minutes every day, because they said that most Americans are vitamin D deficient, which means we're not in the sunlight enough to absorb the vitamin D coming from, like you said, these energies come down from the sun. Mm-hmm. And it relates to behind the 9 ball, where it says the sun generates 9 ether. Mm-hmm. I understand that. My question is, how does the sun activate the pineal gland? And when the pineal gland is activated, what does that allow you to do?
I couldn't comfortably answer that question. I would probably have to get assistance from the traditional teachers and the master teacher himself to answer that question for you. Any other questions or rereads?
I noticed you mentioned that these beings are in the Bible and the Quran.
Speak up, please.
I noticed that you mentioned that these beings are in the Bible and the Quran. Mm-hmm. Is there a hierarchy? Because I know reading the tablets, there's the Palladians, and then you have the reptilians. What's the hierarchy, and like what parts do they play in the Bible and the Quran?
Well, one of the problems with the Bible and the Quran is that they would just whitewash the word God, or whitewash the word Elohim. They would whitewash the word Allah without giving the actual names of the beings spoken at these different times. So when you study, and that's when he's explaining the beings that are over the Bible, the gods of the Bible and the Quran, are many of the beings that you find out of ancient Sumer. So we start dealing with Anu, Inki, Inle, Marduk. Those are the actual beings that are being spoken of and talking about throughout your Bible and your Quran. But they have mistranslated it, or through deception, they just use the one word God, or the one word Allah. And by doing that, they're really misinforming you as to actually what's taking place. The stories begin to make a lot more sense when you realize that there's multiple beings. When use of the word Elohim, when you use the word Rab, it's being speaking of Inki at one time, and maybe his son Marduk at another time, depending on which book and what were the circumstances surrounding. So it's necessary, and what the master teacher, Padre Yanun, has been able to do was literally be able to walk us back into those original texts so we would get a better idea of these gods that we were worshiping within the Bible, within the Quran, and realize that these beings themselves were actually flesh eaters, and they were looking at human beings, or the Adamites, and us coming up underneath Adamite religions as a source of food.
Okay, I said, could you give us an explanation about how do we separate these beings? Like, we know there's the Palladians and the reptilians in the Bible, but how do we separate these beings? Like, could you give us an example? And then, is there a hierarchy?
The easiest way to separate the beings is to put down the Bible and put down the Quran and actually study the actual facts of the Patra. And as we see, there's revision within the holy tablets. And that's the best advice that I can give you, is to actually study what Padre Yanun has given us, and then be able to go back to the Bible, go back to the Quran, and reread those stories with much more clarity. Because I wouldn't be able to you would have to give me a story, we would have to go into that story, we would have to pick that story apart to be able to determine which beings were actually being spoken of at that time. And if we were to do that, it would just be easier to go back into the ancient Sumerian writings or come out of the holy tablets that the master teacher's already given us, just as far as how to progress in that study.
Okay, Tawaka. So you can tell us, was there a hierarchy between the reptilians and the Palladians? The hierarchy.
Okay, I'm not really sure. Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
not really sure.
Tawaka.
Rahbat.
I've been here for a minute, but I'm here. And those things, the reason why I was away, I was going through some stuff. But something was weighing heavy on my mind, and I have to get this off my chest. We talk about the move. All right, I'm gonna go off the grid for a minute. The move, going to these different countries, right? Now, I want to know, is things set up, say we go to a country we've never been before, economically, is there an economical establishment? Are there wu-nuwaupians over there? Or the different places we're supposed to be going? Like Barbados, something like that, or Guyana, and Liberia. And what I would like to know is that, how about food, clothing, and shelter, right? Living in these places, these different places. How will this affect us also, going to these different places? There's things set up, so when we get over there, we don't have to be scrambling, be confused and everything, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do this, what we're gonna do financially. Can you explain that to me?
Gladly. I can simply answer that question by saying the Wapians take full responsibility for everything good and bad that happens in their life. And if there's any plans to make any moves like this, one, I would recommend you get more involved and active. That way you can be directly involved in any of these plans. And two, we would never jump out there or go somewhere without having contingency plans in place. And it's incumbent upon anybody trying to make any large-scale move or even small-scale move, once you say that you're actually practicing or applying the science of wu-nuwaupu to your life, to make it without thinking or without using any sort of reasoning. That's religion. This is what we're getting away from. No more belief and faith, strictly dealing with the facts. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right.
Okay, this is somewhat going off topic, but not really. When I was going through the Ansar, then the Nubian Islamic Hebrew School, and then we morphed into wu-nuwaupu, I was told that the Mukasu was supposed to be, his 6,000 years was up, and he was going to be off the planet by the year 2030. Now, in this very room, I heard the story about Nana Sin coming down in Saudi Arabia and the traumatic events that happened over there, and the Mukasu asked for an extension, and he was denied an extension. Now, the Mukasu is not going to get off the planet until the year 2060. That's a 30-year extension. Was he, in fact, granted an extension, and we're not being told he was, or can you clear that up for me? Because I'm a little confused about that.
First and foremost, when you're dealing with the Mukasu that I believe you're making reference to, you're actually dealing with a bring which is mixed in with other races to extend its life here on the planet. And the Mukasu, its genetics are dying off. But we keep expecting, unfortunately, for everything to happen like a flick of a light. But that's not the way nature works. Natural nature grows, progresses, and dies over time. You didn't come out of your mother's womb a full-grown man. You had to reach a point of maturity to the point that you're at now, correct? And the same way, who told you that? I wasn't there in that class to hear that. And I've never been taught that they're just going to be wiped off the face of the earth just like that. But if you simply go outside and you look at what the sun is doing, you go outside and you look at the unrest that is going on throughout the entire planet, their time of rulership is clearly up. And they're attempting to take anybody with them. Now, what I have heard the master say is that they did not get an extension, and that instead of stepping down from the throne and giving it to its rightful ruler, because of the atrocities that they have committed, because of the things that they have done to the original races here on the planet Earth, that their extension wasn't given. But they're also going to attempt to take as many of us with them as they can. That's the importance of wu-nuwaupu. The importance of wu-nuwaupu is that we're here to replace those old times of ways of thinking, those old ways of living, the old belief system with wu-nuwaupu. We have the answer, and we are the replacement. And so the Mukasu only has rule over you as much as you give him. So when you say his rule is up, the question would be asked, and this is not an attack to you, but this is general from anybody who may be watching, is how much rule are you giving him? Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. You stop giving him power over you by living wu-nuwaupu, by changing your diet, by the revolutionary growth, your spiritual growth, and accepting, wu-nuwaupu, your spiritual science. I understand that, but I don't understand. And I understand his genetics are dying and all of that. So my question now is, you saying that nature is. Nature, you said he's phasing out of existence according to nature, and nature doesn't act overnight. So nature could nature be our enemy? Because wu-nuwaupu is to work with nature, with the forces of nature, with the Natharu and all the other forces of nature, the positive forces of nature that's supposed to uplift us and help us. So you're saying nature is keeping the Mukasu around to the year 2060?
No.
Because you said nature.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not even remotely what I'm saying. I want to make that very clear. What I'm saying is nature is doing its thing. And in natural nature, things grow. Natural nature, things decay. Natural nature, things begin to die and move on, transform and take new shape. You understand? So, hear me out because this is not going to be back and forth. So you have to understand that yes, nature is doing what it does. We've been instructed to stay out of nature's way and let nature do its thing. But if we continue to stay around the Mukasu, if we continue to worship his gods, if we continue to live his culture, then we are telling nature that we're not qualified to move into the new time of existence. We're telling nature that we want to hold on to these old ways, and like the tick on the back of a dog, it will be shaken off. You along with it, if you hold on to ways other than self and kind. You understand?
So I will have. Thank you.
No problem. I believe the brother next to you had a question. If not, I have an update.
You said you answered what I was going to ask.
Okay. All right. Real quick before we end class, there's one thing that has to be spread through everybody. Anybody who's writing Panababi Anun, any kind of letters, please do not send stamps. Please do not send envelopes with stamps in it. That is considered contraband. It hurts him. So that was the only updates that we have for this week. So I just wanted to make sure that was very clear for everybody who's sending him letters not to send them. Okay? And with that, I would like to thank everybody for coming out. Welcome.